Now in this class we are discussing the subject is electrical measurements. Okay, so in our electrical measurements, okay, so in this class we are discussing our 15th is magnetic measurement. Okay, so today in this class we are discussing the how you can find out the BH curve. Okay, so determination of BH curve by using the two methods. Okay, so those are method of reversal and step by step method. Okay, so now in this class we have to discussing those topics. So let us go. Okay, come. See here, method of reversals. Okay, so this is a method of reversals. It is used to find out the BH curve. Okay, so this is also one of the important topic in this unit. Okay, so here see here you have to take a one ring specimen. For this ring specimen you have to wound with a one coil, that is a magnetizing coil, and here you have to connect a such coil. Okay, so and for these two coils, the magnetizing coil terminals are connected to a one reversal switch. Okay, so and here you have to connecting a one ammeter. Okay, so and this and here you have to one rheostat, and for this ammeter here you have to connecting a one DC supply. Okay, through this ring specimen, this side you have to connecting a calibrating coil and rheostat, and here one switch, and here you have to connecting a one ballistic galvanometer. Okay, so this is the construction. Okay, so this is the construction and arrangement of a method of reversals. Okay, so here coming to see here when the galvanometer K is closed, the iron specimen brought into a reproducible cycle magnetic state by throwing the reversing switch backward and forward about 20 times. Okay, so come to here. Okay, so this is the arrangement. Okay, whenever you have to close this switch. Okay, so at that time, okay, so this whenever you have to closing the switch, okay, through this, so at that time you have to varying this rheostat. So at that time there will be a some current will flowing through this magnetizing coil. Okay, so some supply is given to this magnetizing coil. Okay, so at that time this magnetizing coil will be energized and it will be producing a some flux value in this magnetizing coil. Okay, so at that time this magnetizing coil will be reversing switch terminals up backward forward 20 times. Okay. See here 20 times. Next K is now opened and the value of flux corresponding to this value of H measured by the reversing switch S and noting through the of galvanometer. Okay, so forward backward 20 times. So and then now you have to open that switch. Okay, open that K key, that is nothing but a switch. At the time you have to find out the value of flux corresponding to the value of H measured by the reversing switch. Okay, so here search coil deflection, how much amount of the deflection will be deflect that coil, that amount of flux will be produced, that is nothing but the magnetic flux value, flux density value. So you have to directly depending upon that deflection value, you have directly estimate that magnetic flux density. So next, corresponding to that magnetic flux density, you have to measure the magnetic field intensity value. Okay, so that is measured by reversing the switch. Okay, so at that time you have to noting through the of galvanometer. So at that time here you have to find out H equal to Ni by L. Okay, see here the value. So H equal to N equal to number of turns of that magnetizing coil, I equal to current flowing through that coil, and L will be the length of that coil. See here the value of flux density. So and here the value of flux density corresponding to this H can be calculated by dividing the flux by the area of the specimen. Okay, and similarly here the value of the flux density. Okay, so the value of flux density corresponding to this H, okay, corresponding to the magnetic field intensity can be calculated by dividing the flux by the area of the specimen. Okay, so that flux density is nothing but the flux per particular area. So that's why here the flux density. Okay, so the value of that flux density corresponding to this H can be calculated by dividing the flux by the area of the specimen. Okay, so at the time here you can get B equal to 5 by A. So see here the above procedure. Okay, so the above procedure is repeated for various values of H up to maximum testing point. Okay, so by reversing the switch 1 and 2, 1 and 2, so at that so first why you have to place the at 1, you have to get some H value. Next you have to change the position of this switch to 2. So at that time you can get the another H value. So like this. Okay, so the above procedure is repeated for various values of H. Okay, so various values of H up to the maximum testing point. So up to where you have to repeat this procedure means we have to up to now where you have to get the maximum testing point. So at that point you have to repeating this procedure. So at that time the BH curve may be plotted from the measured values of B corresponding to the values of H. So at that time you have to get different values of flux density and similarly different values of magnetic field intensity or field strength. So at that time here you have to write see here H1, H2, H3 and so on H10. Similarly B1, B2, B3 and so on B10. So here so the change in any two values here you have to written as a delta B. Okay, so this is a BH curve. Okay, so next one is what? Step by step method. Okay, so next method is nothing but a step by step method. So this is also similar as the method of reversal, but here we have to use the two switches, one reversal switch that positions will be reversed. But here you have to using one selector switch that's having the one potentiometer divider. Okay, you have the number of tappings. Okay, so that means one by step. First tapping, next second tapping, next third tapping. Like this, you have to vary the tappings of the switches. So at that time, you have to get the different values of a magnetic field intensity. See here, construction here up to above part. The construction is a same as the method of reversals, but only here you have to down of this ring specimen. Some construction is changes. Okay. So here this is a ring specimen and this is a magnetizing coil and this is a such coil. Okay, and this is a calibrating coil. Okay, and here this is a one potentiometer, one switch K and ballistic galvanometer. See here, come to this here you have to one selector switch and this selector switch is given to the potential divider. Okay, so this potential divider having how many tappings? 10 tappings. Okay, so according to the deflection of that coil, the tapping position will be changes. Okay, so the selector switch goes to different tappings. For each tapping, you have to find out the flux density value. Similarly, magnetic field intensity value. Okay, here you have to 10 tappings. So at the time here you have to take me up to 10 points. So whenever the magnetic field intensity will be increases, so similarly the flux density value will be also increases. Okay, curve is the same as a here in both cases you can get the same curve. Okay, so similarly for this also here you have another switch S1. Whenever S1 will be closed, the current will flow through this A. So at that time see here the magnetizing winding is supplied through a potential divider having a large number of tappings. So already I have to say explain that in the diagram. Okay, so here the magnetizing winding is supplied through a potential divider. Okay, so potential divider having a large number of tappings. Okay, similarly here see the specimen before being tested is demagnetized. Okay, so before testing specimen is a demagnetization. So whenever you have to wind with a wire, so at that time that will be a magnetized. Okay, see here similarly the tappings are arranged so that the magnetizing force. Okay, so here the magnetizing force H may be increased with the number of suitable steps up to the desired maximum value. Okay, so and here the tappings are arranged. Okay, so that magnetizing force. Okay, so here the magnetizing force H may be increased and it is a number of suitable steps up to the desired maximum value. And here see here the tapping switch. Okay, the tapping switch S is set on the 1 and the switch S is closed. Okay, so at the time S is closed, so at the time the throw of the galvanometer corresponding to this increase in flux density in specimen from 0 to the some value B. Okay, and that value will be observed. Okay. Hello, madam. Class. Class. మేడం ఒక టూ వీడియోస్ ఉన్నాయి మేడం, ఇప్పుడు తీస్తున్నాను. అయిపోద్ది మేడం ఇంకొక హాఫ్ అన్ అవర్లో. మేడం 3 యూనిట్స్ అప్లోడ్ చేసేసింది మేడం. 2 యూనిట్స్ ఈరోజు మిగతా ఇచ్చేస్తాను. శ్రవంతి ఇది అయిపోయింది 5 యూనిట్స్ ఇచ్చేసింది కూడా నిన్న ఇచ్చింది మేడం అమ్మాయి చేతికి, హర్షిత చేతికి. Okay, so at that time that means whenever see here coming to the step by step, so at that time you have to number of tapping. So at that time, so according to the switch, okay, so whenever at a switch at position 1, so at that time you have to get the some flex. So whenever it goes to switch 2, so at that time flex value will be varies. So according to the flex, the magnetic field strength will be also varies. Okay, so these are the two methods. So one of the method is method of reversals and another method is a step by step method. It is used to find out the BH curve. Next one is, so in this I have to say that, so in our magnetic measurements we have to find out the flux density, okay, as well as the magnetic field strength as well as the losses. So next you have to find out the which methods, so in which way you have to find out the losses. Okay, so that is by the AC magnetic testing. Okay, see here, this test is done in order to determine the iron losses. Okay, so why are using this test is, it is used to measure the iron losses in magnetic material at different values of flux and frequencies. Okay, so this magnetic test is used to determine the iron losses in magnetic material at different values of the that means different values of flux as well as in the frequencies. Okay, it also separates the iron losses as hysteresis and eddy current losses. Okay, so this magnetic AC magnetic testing also separate the iron losses, and in iron losses we have to as hysteresis, combination of hysteresis losses and eddy current losses. Okay, that means this test also separates the hysteresis and eddy current losses from the iron loss. That is the one of the advantage of the AC magnetic testing. So at that time iron losses is equal to eddy current losses plus hysteresis losses. Okay, and eddy current losses double equal to eddy current KHF plus hysteresis losses KEF square. Okay, so KH hysteresis constant, F means frequency. So that means here the eddy current losses is proportional to the frequency, hysteresis losses is proportional to the square of the frequency. Okay, so at that time hysteresis losses will be KEF square. So from that into from that two terms you have to common F. Okay, so that F you have to write this side. So at that time you have to write W by F equal to KH plus KEF. So at that time here you have to write W by F. Okay, so and this here you have to write frequency. So this is the losses per frequency. So at that time, so here whenever the frequency will be varies, the losses will be also increases slightly. Okay, see here from the graph the values of KH and KE are obtained from the intercept and slope of the line respectively. Okay, so here from this graph here you have to find out the values of KH. Okay, KH and KE are obtained from the intercept and the slope of the line respectively. Okay, so next one, determination of iron losses. Okay, so here to find out, okay, so to determine these iron losses, here you have to 3 methods. What are the methods? Wattmeter method, bridge method, potentiometer method. Okay, so what are the methods to find out the iron losses? Here AC magnetic testing is nothing but it is to separate the hysteresis and eddy current losses from the iron losses. So, but here you have three methods to find out the iron losses. What are those? The methods determining the iron losses are classified as a wattmeter method, bridge method, potentiometer method. Okay. First one, wattmeter method. Okay. This is the construction of a wattmeter method. Okay. So here we having a one specimen. Okay, so one iron specimen. Okay, from this you have to number of turns primary winding and you have to two secondaries S1, S2. Okay, so and this will be connected to a one transformer. Okay, so and here you have to ammeter. Okay, the primary will be given to the current coil and the secondary is secondaries will be given to the potential coil. Okay, and here you have to one switch and here secondary of the specimen, here you have to connect a one wattmeter. So total iron loss is equal to PE by V. Okay, P is nothing but wattmeter reading, E is nothing but voltmeter reading, V means nothing but voltage applied. Okay, so whenever you have to close this one, so at the time all current value will be flows. So current will be flows through the meter. Okay, at the time here some exists here some potential difference and here the voltmeter, that potential difference will be measured by the voltmeter. Okay, so at that time here you have to get the voltmeter reading. So wattmeter reading. So whenever you know voltage and current value, so at that time directly you can get the power value. So V is nothing but how much amount of voltage will be applied. So whenever you have to know this all values, so at that time here you can get the directly the total iron losses by using the wattmeter method. Second one is what? Bridge method. Bridge method. So in this bridge method, it is classified into two types. Okay, so this bridge method is also used to find out the iron losses, and this bridge method having two types. What are those? Maxwell's bridge method. Okay, Maxwell's bridge method. Similarly, Campbell's bridge method. Okay, these are the two methods. Okay, so these are the two methods to find out the which value iron losses, to find measure the iron losses value. Okay, so this is a Maxwell's bridge method. See here, this is a bridge. So Maxwell's bridge method. So the name is, so already you have to discussing the bridges in our second unit. Okay, so this is the Maxwell's bridge arrangement. In the place of arm AB, here you have to connect a ring specimen. Okay, so and you have to giving a winding. Whenever you have to giving the supply, okay, so at the time the current, what is the current flowing through this amp? At the time it will be flows through this magnetizing coil. Okay, so at the time directly you had is find out the losses. Okay, see iron losses equal to I1 square RS minus RW. Okay, so see here. I1, okay, RS means ring specimen resistance, RW means binding resistance. Okay, so that is equal to I1 R4 by R3 plus R4 square into, so I1 square, I1 value here you have to get, okay, losses you have to represent it in terms of I square R. So at the time I1 square RS minus RW, so I1 value you have to find out the R by using the bridge balance equation, you have to find out the I1 value. So at that time here you can get the I1 value I means the total current will flowing through the ammeter. So at that time you can get I of R4 by R3 plus R4 of whole square RS minus RW. Okay. So that is by using that formula directly you have to find out the iron losses by using that Maxwell's bridge method. So next one is what? Campbell's bridge method. Okay, in Campbell's bridge method also you have a one ring specimen having the primary turns N1 and secondary turns N2. Primary induced EMF will be E1 and secondary induced EMF will be E2, and this will be connected to a one primary winding, secondary winding. This here having a mutual inductance. These two windings is connected to a one rheostat through ammeter. Rheostat. Okay, so and this is a galvanometer. Okay, so whenever you have to giving the supply, so at that time the current will be produced in the primary winding. Similarly, the EMF will be produced in the secondary according to the mutual inductance principle. So at that time here directly iron loss is equal to E1. Okay, so E1, the EMF induced here, the mutual EMF induced I1 into I cos theta. So and here cos theta value will be found as IR2 by E2 from the phasor diagram. This is a E1 mutual EMF E. This is the EMF induced E2. This is the EMF induced in primary winding, and this is the EMF induced in the secondary winding. This is a flux, okay, and this will be a current value. So from this here you have to write cos theta is nothing but IR2, okay, IR2 by E2. So from this iron losses here you have to written as I square R2 of N1 by N2. So next one, another method, third method, here third method is also there. It is nothing but AC potentiometer method. Okay, so already AC potentiometer. Okay, so this is a polar AC potentiometer method. Okay, so here by using the AC potentiometer method, also here we have to find out the iron losses. See here, so here also we have a in phase already you have well know about this construction or operation of this AC potentiometer method. This is also discussed in our, I think in our third unit, fourth unit. So this is a ring specimen, okay, and this having a number of tons. This having the primary having the N1 number of tons. Similarly, secondary having also N2 number of tons. Okay, so for this primary you have to connecting a regulating resistance and a stand resistance, and here AC supply from the alternator here you have to giving. For in phase potentiometer, quadrature potentiometer, you have to give me supply, two supply phase 1 and supply phase 2, and this is a galvanometer. All of you know, whenever the galvanometer will show the null deflection, at that time the potentiometer will be standardized, and that the deflection is proportional to the current flowing through it. Similarly, here also that how much current will flows, that we have to find out by using this resistance. Okay, so see here, working component of the current, reading of in phase potentiometer by R, magnetizing component of the current, reading of quadrature potentiometer by R. So at that time, iron losses, okay, iron losses will be directly given by E1 into I cos theta. E1 equal to E1 into working component of a current. Okay, so that means reading of in phase potentiometer. So at the time, directly you have to find out the iron losses by using the what? AC potentiometer method. Okay, so these are the methods to find out the iron losses. What are those? Wattmeter method. Okay, so next one is what? Bridge method, and third one is AC potentiometer method. In bridge method, we have again two methods. Those are Maxwell's bridge method. Next one is a Campus bridge method. Okay, so these are so now in this class we are discussing how you can estimate, how you can determine the BH curve, okay, as well as how you can find out the iron losses and what are the methods used for the iron losses. Next class we have to discussing some problems. Okay, so thank you. Okay, all of you please subscribe the DBS talk. Thank you.